The scene unfolds as a young man thought to himself that the atmosphere had originally been like this and he had forgotten cold corridors and dimmed lights, and between siblings there existed a war. He approached some guards and told them that he needed to speak with his elder brother and they should allow him to pass. As he entered the room, the person sitting on the chair addressed him as Leon and told him not to wander around without the accompaniment of a retainer. Leon addressed the man as Big Brother Marks and asked who he thought he was. Marks asserted that he knew that Leon was quite skilled in magic. However, they are in the middle of a war. Leon stated that he had heard about it, and their big sister Camilla just received orders to search for and kill Kamui. Leon, while holding a book, told him that it was impossible for Camilla to kill Kamui, and it would be simply abnormal. Max told him that their father decided it to be this way after much deliberation on his part. Leon asserted that if he was ready to face Kamui, then it should be him to complete this task in Camilla's stead. He further stated that Camilla's theatrics and whims are no reason for her to be exempt from military affairs. Marx replied that he understood it well, but this was the life that they had been given, and they should not speak any more of it. Leon tried to say something, but Marx interrupted him and told him that the conversation is over as he had a meeting with the cavalry guards to attend. As Leon was going to open the gate, he heard some rumbling and a little girl came running inside shouting that there was a huge problem. She shouted that big sister Camilla won't come out of her room. One of the guards addressed her as Miss Elise and told her that she should always knock before entering someone else's room. She told the guard that she didn't do anything wrong as the door was already open. She ran towards the Marks and Marks asked her what she was doing there as she should be in the palace. She replied that no matter how many times she called, Camilla wouldn't answer, and Luna told her that she won't even eat dinner or snacks. She stated that they should go look for her and that she knew it would be no good without Kamui. She asked Leon if he didn't think that father got really lonely too, and if it's too hard for Big Bro to ask father if they could look for her, then she could do it. Marks told her that it was not good and she asked him why. He turned around and told Leon and Elise that they must return to the palace. She asked him why and if he didn't want to play with everyone else. Her guard came inside and told her that they should return to the palace as it was almost tea time. She started crying and called her big brother an idiot, as even though everyone just started to get along, and even though they could all finally talk to each other. She started crying and shouted Kamui's name. Leon and Elsie were walking in the town and Leon thought to himself that he wanted to free her, but if it were to happen, she would never be able to go outside ever again until the end of their days. If she were to take Aqua's hand and turn her fangs against her own country, they would have to deal with it as a royal family would. At least something could be done with this hand. There are two large countries between heaven and earth, one of light and abundance, the kingdom of Hoshido, and the other of darkness and desolation, the kingdom of Nor. Norian people dreamed that the heavens would bless them with sunshine, but it would forever be in the hands of the phantoms, and the only way was with iron and blood through the wages of war. A little while ago, as the convoy of Prince Marks reached a castle, the guards opened the gate for him. He thanked them for guarding the castle, and the guards told him that they had been anticipating his arrival and asked if he would like some assistance in removing his horse's bridle. Marks looked at the gatekeeper and thought that he looked a tad familiar. He looked at the guard and asked if it was possible that he was the champion of our martial arts competition several years ago, and he replied affirmatively. Mark remembered that he was up against the Pieri, and he heard that he had been recruited by the royal guard, and yet he was there. The guard replied that his father was forced. His father had been reassigned because of his relation to him, and he too was relieved of duty in the palace. Leon started wondering that two relatives demoted in rank right at the same time. He thought to himself that Macduff lives in disgrace, fallen out of Macbeth's good favor, and that sorcerer is indulgently doing whatever he wishes simply because father likes him. The guard told him that it was an unreserved honor for him to be able to protect his little sister, and asked if it was just a human Prince Leon that would be coming. Leon declined and told him that Camilla and Elise would be flying there. As Camilla and Elise were approaching the castle, Elise states that big sister Kamui was in the garden. Elise approached her and asked her if they could go outside, if she could become a cool witch. Kamui told her that she was happy enough even without something like that. She told her that everyone from the northern fortress, and she as well, always comes to see her, so she was always happy. Elsie hugged her and Leon shouted from behind that she always leave her horse behind to him like this. He told her that at least she should have her own retainer hold the reins. Leon turned around and asked his big brother not to just laugh and do something as he was just too sweet to their little sister. Marks asked him if it was like that and told everyone to move on as the servants were waiting for them. These servants told them to come inside and that they should lead wyverns and horses to them. One of the servants requested Kamui to allow him to clean her mantle of the snow, and she replied affirmatively. Leon asked Kamui if she was able to do the thing that they talked about earlier. She excitingly replied yes, and stated that its quality may not be up to par with the items made by the capital's craftsmen, but she still thought that it's rather lovely. Camellia came from behind and asked what they two were talking about. Kamui replied that the truth was that she got big sister Camellia and Elise presents. She told her that Flora and the others helped sew it all together, and Leo helped procure the fabrics. Leo started shying and replied that it wasn't a big deal as big sister Kami has many troubles in her life, so he was just making up for them. Leo thought to himself that his father, King Garon, said that the blood of Norian royalty traces back to the ancient dragons. However, the second Princess Kamui does not have that power, and the northern fortress has a special barrier that ensures that. As Leo was reading a book in his room, he wondered what his father was planning to do in regards to sister, and that there are no adequate instructors assigned to her. Someone knocked at the door and told him that preparation for dinner has been completed and asked if there was anything else he may need. He replied that he understood it and that he would take care of it himself. He went outside his room and started walking in the corridor, wondering that maybe his father doesn't intend to take any further steps. Suddenly, Elise came out of her room dancing and shouting that she put it on. Leon told her that she really needed a proper teacher, and Elise told him that it's good to see him. She told him that she finished putting the dress on and asked if it suited her and that it looked pretty good. Camellia and Kamui also came outside of the room and told Leon that the dresses from this region are the best to end. The real gift is that Kamui gets to match with her big sister. Elise started blushing and told him that she wanted someone to paint them in matching dresses. As they were all going down the stairs, Kamui thanked Leon for arranging the fabrics on her behalf, and he replied that it was no big deal as that way Elise and Camilla were also pleased. Kamui commented that Leon was so kind. He asked her what she was saying and tried to tell her something but stopped himself as he believed that sister doesn't need to know something like that. She replied that he really was as he played hide and seek and even went out to have a snowball fight with her. As they all sat on the dining table, Kamui told them that today's rice has Leo's favorite in it, tomatoes, which is dried tomato stew. She stated that last time they had Camellia's favorite corn dish, so they should try to go in order. Elise wondered if her favorite dish would be next, and that it would be fun. She asked Kamui if they would ever be able to eat at a smaller table, and Kamui started wondering about the table. She explained that people from the city dying around a smaller table, and she wanted to try this out with her sisters and the others too. Kamui asked Marx if that would be ok with him, and he replied that they live in a castle so it's not a reality that they face, but to experience other people's lives isn't a bad thing. Elisa told them that she had heard of this before, and they had to put the plates on the table, and then change them out themselves. Leo started blushing and stated that there is no way anyone is motivated enough to do that, and they were a royal family, and they must stay refined as such. Kamui looked at Leon and told him that his shirt is inside out. Leo was startled to hear that and told her that she should have told him sooner. As everyone started making fun of Leo, Leo thought to himself that in there they could be just a family, not the Norian royal family. Struggles from the concubines, so killing each other to the death of the queen. They finally got used to the remaining siblings they had, and big sister Kamui would come there to visit from her fortress from time to time. After that, everyone went to sleep, and as Leon woke up in the morning, he heard the sounds of wooden swords meeting each other. He looked out of the window and thought to himself that this morning, too, Big Brother came here to practice with Kamui. He went downstairs thinking to himself that this far under the pretense of self-defense against the faceless, but it seems to him that they are doing it with a bit too much vigor. He thought to himself that if Kamui competed in a martial arts tournament, she would be able to leave the northern fortress, but that's impossible as fighting others didn't suit his sister. As he was walking towards them, he heard Mark stating that she would be beheaded in no time if she was defeated this easily. He asked her if she shouldn't say that she should retreat immediately if her body couldn't handle something. Marx raised his arms and the sword, and Kamui and Leon both were shocked to see that. He turned around and told her that the stars of dawn are rising and they should continue this tomorrow. She sighed and Marx asked him if she was hurt, and she further asked him if she would be able to help her elder brother someday. He replied that not yet, but if she kept practicing tirelessly without fail, then he would accept her as a knight under his leadership. As Leon was running towards them, he thought to himself that asking that is useless as brother tried so hard early on to teach him how to use a sword. Leo asked Marx what he was talking about, and if he didn't feel bad for Kamui making such a convenient promise. He replied that he was serious and that such is the code of a warrior, but even so, Kamui is nothing short of a natural with the sword, and to not put her to use would be a waste. Leo was shocked to hear that and asked him if he was planning to convince Father with such a bad idea, and he replied that Father was also a hero who led his country with a sword. Leo wished his brother would just buy someone of similar skills, and Alice and Camellia approached them and greeted them the morning. Alice told them that Flora said to come because they are going to have breakfast soon. She told Marx that it was dangerous to strain himself so much. Marx got really serious and told them that everyone was there so they should talk right now. Camilla and Elise asked if something was wrong, and he replied that Father had given him orders to take Cammy back with them to Clarkenstein. He told her that it was time to leave the fortress. Clarkenstein is a villa located within the royal castle in which the royal family lives. After that, everyone went inside, and during the tea time after their dinner, they all started discussing something. She told Kamui that from now on she could live in the castle, and it would be nice to do things together in the same house. Leo got suspicious and asked, would it be dangerous if sister left the fortress, if it was like that? March replied that it was according to Father's judgment. Kamui told him that she hadn't heard of this and asked what it's supposed to mean. Marx told them that it was a sudden order to have her leave, and he could only wonder what caused the father to think of it. He told them that up until this point, Father has been watching over them, and this time he believed that Father is thinking about the future of Nora as a whole. Kamui replied that she was happy, and she was fine with anything so long as it benefits everyone. A maid entered the room and told Kamui that if that was the case, then she should start preparing. She got flustered and started wondering what she should bring and how many books she should carry. She asked what about the mineral specimens and spare clothing. She wondered what she should wear in the castle. She told them that she needed to think about this, and Elise told her that they should both go think of some things to bring. Marx replied that she should take her time to think, and there is still some time before they leave. Leon asked him what if sister had to marry into another country's royalty in order to secure an alliance, for example Chevalier. Chevalier is a country south of North, famed for its skilled knights, and its citizens openly resent Nor. He stated that the country has been neutral for quite a long time, but lately it seems that its citizens have been rebelling against Nor, and for nobles at her age, it's not unheard of. Camellia asked Leon to stop and stated that if she gets married, and if her suitor is not a good fit for her, she would never forgive them. Marx told them not to talk of marriage just yet, and he would speak to Father once Kamui has returned to the palace. Leon stated that everything he was saying about Father is guessing and hearsay, and not like it matters anyway. Marx asked if it was some way to speak to his elder brother, and Leon stood up and went outside saying that he was going to go read up on some magic books in the library. Camellia tried to stop him, and after he left, she told Marx that no matter what happens, they had to protect Kamui. As Leon was walking, he asked Zero if he was there, and a man suddenly appeared behind him. He told Zero that he wanted to ask him and Odin something. Leo thought to himself that he wanted to bring her outside, and he still thought about it even now, but of all places, Clarkenstein. The story proceeds forward as the prince and the convoy were moving towards the castle with Lady Kamui. Kamui commented that there is not much light out and she could see the stars. She looked at the sky and asked if it was a prairie, and this is the outside world. Elise told Kamui that from now on they could go out to sea, prairies, and more, and they should bring lunch boxes, and Kamui asked if she was talking about having a picnic. Leo was not in a good mood and thought to himself that it seems that she was never taught of the world outside of the fortress of the king's castle. As they were traveling, one of the guards called Marx, and Marx asked him what it was. Gunter, the guard, told Marx that over the years it seems that the country's production of grain has gradually decreased, and he heard that a few people starved to death in the winter. Marx stated that his ears burned at the sound of such news, and perhaps it would be necessary to start distributing their emergency rations. But before that happens, he was thinking of making some rather drastic reforms. Actually, he had already approached the appropriate parties over this matter, and they're trying to see if they are. Sorcerers would be able to bring into being land suitable for agriculture. Camellia, who was riding her wyvern, approached Marx and asked him to stop talking about such matters in Kamui's presence. She told Gunter that they might discuss this matter during a meeting at a later time, and he apologized to her. As they were passing, Leo noticed a funeral and thought to himself that this is his second time ever seeing one. He thought to himself that he would keep it a secret for Big Sister's sake, even though he knew she would find out eventually. They reached the imperial capital, Windmire. Kamui noticed that the streets were empty and stated that it's going to rain soon, so it couldn't be helped, though she was hoping to see a busy street. Leah was confused and stated that it's sunny outside, and she replied that she had been able to smell water ever since they passed through the city's gate. Elisa told them that if they could get to the castle before it rains, then it would be oak, and that really bright area up ahead is the castle. Camellia stated that she was right, as she could see the pillars of the light over there. Leon stated that Clark Einstein has expanded deeper into the earth over the years, and she may not remember it since it's been such a long time. The gatekeeper shouted to open the gate as Lord Marks and the others have returned. As the gates were opening calm, we commented that it was so bright, and it's almost as if a star has been born here. Camellia commented that it was such a nice way to put it, and Marks commented that the royal family is truly the light of this country. Camellia told him that he should be ashamed saying something like that, as there is still much work for them to do. Everyone kneeled in front of Lord Marks and welcomed them. A sorcerer told Marks that he understood that everyone has traveled quite the distance. However, he must request that they have an audience with the king, as His Majesty King Garon orders it. Leo thought to himself that it was a sorcerer and wondered if that order came from Father or did it come from Macbeth. He stated that the attendants would guide them to their rooms. Camellia and Marks left them and told them that they were going on ahead to check up on something, and they three should head back for the throne room, and they would join them again later. Elise asked Kamui if something was wrong, and she replied that it seems that Big Brother Marks and Big Sister Camellia have had less and less time to chat with them. Elise agreed with her and told her that she liked the villa a lot more, as the royal palace makes her kind and nervous. Kamui, however, commented that this place is really beautiful, if not a little scary, and there are so many beautiful bright lights, and there is even decorative waterfalls around the castle, as she had never seen anything like this. Kamui glanced at some guards who were holding the prisoners of war, and she asked Leon what that over there was. The guard shouted at the prisoners of war to stand up and who asked them to rest. She asked Leon what was going on, and Leon was shocked to see the prisoners of war. He approached the guards and stated that this was an outrage, and that they shouldn't tell him that they didn't know that the second princess was coming to the castle, and to take that captive outside to the corridors conveniently around the same time. They polluted the eyes of the princess with the blood of a Hashidan warrior after her long absence from the kingdom. The guards knelt in front of him and apologized to him. Leon told them that he would think of a proper punishment for them all after, and asked Big Sister that they should take a different path. Kamui asked him to wait, as those two people were injured. She asked Elise to take the reins and told them that they have to tend to them. Leon told her that they are enemies of Nor, and she replied that whether they are their enemies or not, it doesn't make a difference, and these soldiers should free them. One of the guards bowed in front of her and told her that King Garon has ordered that these prisoners are to be hung, and this order cannot be overruled by her. She told him that he didn't have to hang them, and she didn't think there's much of a point in killing them. Leo grabbed her hand and told her that it's not something that she could decide, and they should go. The guard told her that even if she was the Royal Highness, Princess Kamui, hindering the royal decree is reportable to King Garon. Leo thought to himself that this is bad and wondered if Big Sister couldn't see that it's useless to keep talking. He told Kamui that she was in the way and opened his magic book and used a fire spell on the prisoners. The prisoners caught fire and fell down from the floor to the river beneath. He apologized to the guards and told them that the story is that both his sister and he thought that they were doing an exceedingly poor job and so had to be corrected. He told them to make sure to keep what happened earlier to themselves, and their execution just came a bit early, but it was fine, as he would have his retainers fetch the bodies later. He grabbed Kamui by her hand and dragged her away and told her that Father was waiting for them. As Kamui tried to stop him, Elisa told her that it's okay and she should just go with it for now, as if those guys are somehow still alive. At the same time, Leon's retainers pulled the burnt prisoners from the river. Odin stated to Zero that it's so cool that they are capable of working with an ambiguous order, like just rise to the occasion. And surely this is what it feels like to be chosen as a loyal retainer to the kingdom of Nor. Zero replied affirmatively and stated that Lord Leon makes such good use of them. Odin wondered what was going to happen when he heard that he was suddenly to come back from the northern fortress. He picked the prisoner in his arms and commented that she was actually pretty heavy. Odin told Zero that they should switch these guys out with some other corpses that could pass as them when the patrol comes around. As they were leaving the canal area, Zero hoped that Leo was doing well on his own. Kamui and Elise started whispering about Leo's retainers, and Elise told her that she watched Big Bro do magic a lot, so she knew what he does, and he makes adjustments to sounds and colors. Leo didn't want to have to go out and say it, But he had no choice, and thus he told Kamui that the castle may resemble the northern fortress in some ways, but they shouldn't get too comfortable, as this was a terrible place where even he couldn't get away with betraying father's will, and he had no idea what the father has planned for her. That's why he wanted her to stop doing such dangerous things. Commonly asked him if father was really that horrible, and Elise replied that he used to be really kind, but she didn't know what happened. Yu agreed with her and stated that father changed rather suddenly. But even though father might be scary, every one of his beloved siblings are very kind people. He tried to say something but started blushing, and Kamui stated that it seemed that he had something really important to say, and he asserted that it was nothing. Leo thought to himself that even in the past, sister was so kind. They all reached in front of their father's chamber's gates, and the gatekeepers announced that Crown Prince Marks has returned with Kamui from the northern fortress. They opened the gate and everyone entered the room. Kamui told everyone that she smelled water and she wondered if the rain seeped in. Leo thought to himself that calmly didn't feel anything, as there was tension in the room which was clearly visible. The king was sitting on his throne and welcomed Kamui. Kamui knelt and excitedly told him that she had been anticipating the day she could come to Clarkenstein Castle, and it's like a dream come true. The king smiled and told her that he knew that she had been working hard in her daily training at the northern fortress, and he also knows that if she does, it would no longer be necessary to keep up the barrier. Since she is of royal blood, he had no doubts that this day would come. However, he shouted that she had failed to meet his expectations. He told her that despite knowing it would go against his royal decree, she helped the prisoners, and instead she tried to confirm the soldiers to obey her shallow ideas. He would not forgive those who oppose his rule and sentence Kamui to die. Marks came in front of her and asked the king to wait, as Kamui had no idea what she was doing, and she had no intentions of opposing him. The king replied that he had been listening, and from what he had heard, she had been questioning the competence of his officials and that she was out of line. Marks tried to oppose him, but he shouted at him and told him that he needed to only focus on protecting their units and that he should not meddle in his affairs. Not even his firstborn may change his mind on this matter. Suddenly, a man carrying a sword entered and asked His Majesty to calm down, and asked if he was not looking forward to keeping Princess Kamui this sword for a while. He smiled and requested His Majesty's being a loyal tactician Macbeth to him if he would not forgive Lady Kamui. The king replied that he would if Macbeth asks him, and told everyone that he must speak to Kamui alone, and everyone else is dismissed. The guards apologized to the prince and the others and told them that they had been ordered to have everyone wait out there for the time being. Leo was shocked to see that the king wouldn't listen to elder brother, but he would listen to Macbeth. Elise wondered why father was acting like this and tried to peek from the door. She stated that it was oak, as she could hear their voices from there, so she could just listen in. Marks told Leo that he trusted father. The king told Kamui that it would not benefit him to lose his precious daughter, but he could not allow those who disobey the royal decree to get away with it. Therefore, he would assign her an undercover investigation mission. Elise heard that from outside and told everyone that father was going to forgive Kamui, and Leo commented that her voice was too loud. The king further explained to her that there is an outpost at the border of Hoshido and Nor that was abandoned some time ago, and asked her to investigate whether or not it's still abandoned, and if by chance she encountered anyone else there. Told her not to engage in battle but come back and report to him her findings. After that, he took the sword from Macbeth and told Kamui to take the demon sword Ganglary along with her, and he would forgive her disobedience from this afternoon. He told her that they should meet again in this castle, and she replied affirmatively. Leo thought to himself that something about this doesn't seem right, and they all heard that the king told Kamui that there was a knight that used to be a guard, Gunter. He told her that he wanted her to bring along someone else who is used to travel, and he would have proper arrangements for her departure ready in the morning. He further told her that she was to take a man named Hans, as he was a veteran of war. Marks whispered Hans' name, and Camellia stated that she heard he has a bad reputation, and she couldn't allow just anyone to accompany Kamui. Macbeth and Kamui came out of the throne room, and Macbeth commented that he didn't appreciate eavesdropping. Kamui apologized to everyone for making them worry about her. Camellia hugged her tightly and told her that after what's happened, Big Sister would be sure to help her. And Macbeth told her that she couldn't do that, as this was a trial that His Majesty entrusted Lady Kamui with to ensure her loyalty to the crown. He told her that there was no point in providing her any aid, as it would only mean further disobedience to the king's orders. Camellia got really mad and told Macbeth that he had certainly come to have a big mouth, and he replied that he sees no problem in that. After all, he spoke only on the behalf of the king and the country of Nor. After that, as all the siblings were going down the stairs, Kamui stated that father may be a bit scary, but there was no way that he is a bad person and that she would do her best as she couldn't spend her whole life being protected by everyone. Elisa cheered for her and told her that she could do it. Kamui smiled and told everyone that she was already looking forward to when she returned so that she could see everyone back at the castle again. After that, as Leon changed his clothes, he told Odin that he trusted him and that he could handle being a political decoy. Odin commented at Leo that the disguise was perfect, and it seriously yelled like a lone wolf on the prowl, wandering consecrated ground. Odin told Leo to leave it to him as he would transform into a prince that strives for excellence in his study of magic. Leo thought to himself that they would be under house arrest for a while, so he won't be able to send her off, but more importantly, he was worried about the hands guy. Zero reported to Lien that it appeared that Lady Kamui's horses are gone and her caretakers, Gunter and Joker, are also gone. Leo was shocked to hear that and asked him what he was going on about, and Zero replied that someone took her place while she was in the bath, and the maid said that someone left through the back exit and that she thought that was Kamui and others. Leo thought to himself that he needed to report this to Big Brother immediately, and he should give chase while he still could. Macbeth was in his chamber and wondered if it was Prince Marks or Prince Leon, who was aware that he had hundreds of eyes watching for Princess Kamui, and no matter, he had personally caused the king's plans to come to fruition. He thought that some thief from the slums and a vagabond weren't good enough to be Leon's retainers, and that goes for Marks as well. He had so many more qualified units at his disposal, and yet he settled for a cavalier and mercenary. He thought that for them to leave the kingdom of Nor with a party of that size was impossible. Marks and Leo were chasing them on their horses, and Camellia and Elise were flying on the wyvern. Marks stated that if they could just make it through this wasteland, they would be able to get to the fort. Elisa told Leon that there was someone collapsed over there, and as they reached, they realized that it was Hans lying on the ground. The story proceeds forward as all the siblings return back to the castle, and according to the man named Hans' big sister, Princess Kamui, went missing during an encounter with the Hashiden troops that had been lurking in the fort, and they searched the surrounding areas, but they were unsuccessful in finding any signs of their missing sister. The guards shouted at each other to hurry it up with the surprise, as Lady Kamui could be suffering somewhere while they are wasting time, and that the third squad was leaving now to look for her. The guard entered Marks' chambers and told him that Lady Camellia has returned and that currently she is in the mezzanine lending area. The guard also told him that he had a report from Lord Lasward in his team, as they are currently close to the country's border. He told him that although they had expanded their search to areas near Hoshido as well, Lady Kamui has yet to be found, and Marks replied that they should continue their search and then send over a messenger. As Marks approached Camellia, she came running to him and told him that it's no use, and asked if they had still not found her. Marks replied that she needed to rest, as if she worked herself to the breaking point she would only hurt Kamui. She told him that she was not trying to think about it, but what if they keep searching and they still didn't find her, as it was highly probable that she fell into the bottomless canyon with all the Hashiden troops during that battle. Marks told her that as soon as he gets father's permission, he would take his troops and travel with her, and she replied that it was fine. Leah was listening to them and started wondering about the bottomless canyon. It was a long and deep valley between the borders of Nor and Hoshido. Even with the sharp eyes of a hunter, the valley is much deeper than it appears, and even a skilled adventurer attempted to journey to the bottom and never returned. Searching down there, it would be a challenge even with sufficient equipment and people, and there is nothing he could do for her. He went to his chamber. The guard welcomed Leo and told him that Sir Odin was waiting for him inside. As soon as Leo entered his room, Odin told him that he knew that Hans was up to something. He explained to him that as punishment for being unable to protect the princess, it was announced that he was to be demoted to the labor in the mines, but then the escort services said that there was no such a man within their ranks. Leo assumed he fled. At the same time, Marks and Camellia went to the throne room, but Macbeth interrupted them and told them that the king has forbidden them to search the bottomless canyon. Camellia asked him what he was talking about, and he explained that not one person who has descended canyon has ever returned, and they cannot allow the two of them to make mischief and lose more of their soldiers at such a crucial time during the war with Hoshido. But Mark stated that they must hurry and continue their search for Kamui, and they haven't a single moment to lose. Macbeth told them that instead they would be selecting soldiers that work under His Majesty to survey the bottomless canyon, and Lord Marks and Lady Camellia had the orders to perform searches in the surrounding ground areas only. And those were the words of His Majesty. Marx asked Macbeth if those were really the words of his father and told him that it was not good enough for him and he won't believe them until he hears them directly. He started knocking the throne's rumor and shouted that it was him and he would like to speak with the king. The gatekeeper asked Lord Marx what was the matter and that if he had something to say to His Majesty he could relay his message. The gate of the throne's room opened and the king shouted at Marx as he was being so noisy and the orders he had given him are not up for debate. He stood up and told him that he would take this matter into his own hands and ordered them that in regards to the bottomless canyon, not one person is to be down there without his direct orders. During the same time, Kami was sleeping in a horse cart as she was traveling with another woman in the cart. She woke up and the woman stated that it was a disaster being betrayed by someone who was supposed to be on her side. She told Kami that she almost fell onto some sharp rocks at the bottomless canyon. He told her that they saw her falling from the edge of the canyon and it seemed out of place for her to be so far from Nor, so they figured it was their turn to help her this time. Kamui remembered that she was the Hashiden from the castle. Kamui grabbed her hands and told her that she remembered falling from the suspended bridge while farting hands and asked her if she knew what happened to the knight and the butler that worked with her. The girl freed her hands and shouted at her to not grip her hands so hard and told her that she didn't find anyone else with her at the time. Kamui apologized to her and asked if she was all right. The guy riding the horse cart excused himself for interrupting their conversation and told her that he was relieved to see that she was awake now. He introduced himself as Suzukaze, one of Hoshido's shinobi, and that she was Rinka from the Flame Tribe. He thanked her for putting her life on the line for them the other day, and she replied that it was her little brother Leon. The guy told her that they were heading to Hoshido right now, and anyway he should inform her that once this wagon reaches the capital, they would be heading over to Castle Shurastage. Kamui told them that it couldn't be helped, and she supposed they would want an explanation for the unprovoked attack on Hoshido, and then she would be a prisoner of war. He denied and told her that she was Princess Kamui, and he remembered her younger brother calling her that, so if she was who they believed her to be, there would be many people who would want to come and meet her. She replied that she didn't understand and asked what they meant, and if she won't be executed. The guy replied that they would no such thing and apologized that it was not his place to say any more, as all will be explained. He told her that if she was to accompany them and if she cooperated, they may be able to search for those knights she mentioned earlier. There was an eye on the sword that the king gave to Princess Kamui, and the king was able to see everything that Kamui and the Hashiden were talking about. He thought to himself that he intended to send them after they defeated the Hashiden soldiers at the fort, but it seems he had been saved the effort. As Leon was taking a horse from the stables, Odin requested him to inform them if he needed anything so that they may make proper arrangements for him, and Leo replied that he would be fine for just this morning as he thought he might go for a quick walk on his own. Marx asked Leo what he was doing, and he replied that he was just going for a walk, and he in return asked Marx what he was doing in the stables. He told Marx that he couldn't seem to focus on his magic study, so he figured he would take a walk in the forest. Marx asked him the reason why he was wearing his traveling clothes underneath his cloak, and Leo replied that the order father issued was for the soldiers and he was no soldier. Anyway, he was going alone because Zero and Odin haven't had much free time this past week, and he thought he would give them a bit of freedom for a while. He told Marx that he didn't want to worry big sister Camilla and Alice, and father especially. Marx tried to stop him and told him that if father finds out that he was going to such a dangerous place alone. Leo interrupted him and told him that Macbeth was the one who gave those orders to Hans, but if not him then it was father, and asked what he would do about that. Marx was unable to answer the question and Leo left on his horse. Suddenly, Lazarus appeared behind Marx and told him that he had been looking for him. He told Marx that he came to report directly about the situation regarding the search near the borders and asked him to listen carefully to what he has to say. He told him that about the grain supply that they talked about last time. He was able to confirm something on the way back. He told him that he was able to confirm with his own eyes that his father allotted a part of the tax money for stockpiling every year. He explained to him that it seems that 8% of that stockpile has gone missing, and it also seemed that this applies to some of the storage facilities around the kingdom. He opened his book and told him that he had recorded what numbers should be and what they are. Marx asked who was supposed to be handling this, and he replied that the person who was supposed to be in charge transferred out months ago, and he didn't think anyone was appointed to take over their position afterwards. Marx couldn't believe that the coward left them with such a mess, and he replied that he had been hard at work on this situation. Marx told him that they should hurry up and report this to his father. and Lazard asked him if he should investigate the storage facilities on the outskirts of the border as well, and he replied that he should ask all of them, every single one in the entire country. Marx told him that he might encounter some cute girls around the country at the very least, and he replied that he would do his best. Marx told him to hold on to that book, and under no circumstances should it leave his side, as he was trusting him with this, and also he should call Pierre for him as he had much to discuss. At the same time, Kamui reached the Shirasagi castle and was really worried. The shinobi asked her what was wrong, and she replied that she was still not used to how bright it is here, and Hoshido's sunlight is what makes it such a radiant place. As they were climbing the stairs, Conley noticed thin red flowers were blooming, and Rinka told her that the cherry blossoms should be blooming soon and asked her to just look at the color. Cammy wondered what this was as she saw blue sky and flowers. Suddenly, a woman started running towards Kamui, and a guy called her mother and told her that if she run like that, she would make everyone think that there is a problem. Another woman called her as Queen Mikoto and asked if something was the matter. She started shouting Kamui's name and stated that even from far away she could tell it was a Suzuka's and everyone else. Her tears started falling, and she told Kamui that she always hoped that one day she would come back home to her family. Kamui asked Suzuka's if the people he wanted her to meet were those people. He replied affirmatively. The other guy behind the queen apologized to Kamui as he couldn't protect her as her elder brother. Kamui got confused, and the queen asked her if she did not understand what they were saying and stated that it has been a long time after all. The queen told her that she is her mother Mikoto, and she wondered if this was the first time she had ever seen her in this outfit. After her father Sumiraji passed away, she ascended the throne. She pulled the hand off the guy behind her and told her that this is her elder brother Ryoma, and asked if he has grown so much since back then. She told her that there is also Hinoka and Takumi, and that they should call over Sakura and Aqua too, as everyone has been looking forward to her return. Kamui started wondering if she was a princess of Hoshido and was really confused. The story proceeds forward as Leo, with Odin and Zero, was investigating the bottomless canyon. He asked Odin how was the search going so far, and he replied that he snuck over there to take a peek, but he couldn't find any leads. But he also told him that they didn't see any of Garon's underlings along the way. Leo stated that he hadn't seen any of the father's troops there either, and wondered what they were even looking for in the bottomless canyon. He thought that it was fine as time was almost up, for now anyway, and he pulled Zero out from the canyon and asked how it went. He replied that they went down the same depth as Clark Einstein Castle, but they still couldn't find anything, and everything's the same as when they searched yesterday. It's too narrow for them to go any further down, and there's no way to fit a wide one through such a small gap. It seemed that the only places they have left to search are the rocks protruding near the middle of the cliff. Zero apologized and told him that it's his fault that Lady Kamui went lost. Leo told him that there was no use in him apologizing as he made a mistake caused by his own lack of judgment, and no one but he was to take the blame. He thought to himself that the bodies of the Hoshidan soldiers were abandoned at that unfortunate place, and to cover up the death of one person is one thing, but for that person to be his sister, it would be a troublesome thing that he would want no part in. Odin told them that there was a cavalryman in the distance, and it's a cavalier, but he couldn't tell her side they are affiliated with, and asked if they should hide. Leo told them to wait as he might be bringing news under his brother's command, and told them they should wait and see. The cavalryman knelt in front of Leo and told him that he had found him. He told Leo that he was carrying a message from the Norian kingdom on behalf of His Majesty King Garon. He asked the cavalryman how he knew that he was there, and he replied that he asked the princess. He apologized for the interruption, but the message he was asked to bring him was urgent, and His Majesty's statement was that it turns out that Lady Kamui's whereabouts have been located, and that's why he had to get the message out to him as quickly as possible. At the same time, in the castle of Hoshido Shirasagi, everyone was happy as Lady Kamui had returned. She heard some people talking outside her room that they prayed that her memories would return soon. She opened the gate of her room, and the lady sitting outside her room requested her to let her know if she needed anything, and she replied that she just wanted to walk around a little bit. A girl approached her, and Kamui addressed her as Princess Inoka. Inoka asked her if there was any place she would like to go in particular, and told her that these are mandarin oranges and she should take some with her to eat on the way. She thought that it would be better if she had an escort to come with her, but she won't push that on her if she would rather be alone, and Kamui replied that it was fine. Inoka told her that she was currently mending the armor that she arrived in, so she would be wearing the kimono for now, and the new clothes might feel a little different from what she was used to. But she hoped that it was okay for now. Kamui bowed and thanked Princess Hinoka for taking care of so many things, and she told her that she didn't have to worry about something like that, as she was her older sister after all. But she guessed that it would be impossible to call each other family all of a sudden. As she went for a walk, everyone in the castle greeted Kamui and hoped that she had a nice day. As she was walking, she thought to herself that this place felt so calm and everything was thriving. She could see why Queen Mikoto is such a good ruler. Prince Ryoma, Princess Hinoka, and Princess Sakura, they are all such good people, and she thought that maybe someday even Prince Takumi as well. She started wondering if they were all really connected by blood, and they claimed that the Norians are the terrible invaders. She heard someone singing and wondered who she was. A girl was standing in a pond and singing, and as she approached her, she asked Kamui what was wrong, and Kamui replied that she came over because she heard her singing. She asked her if she liked it, and Kamui replied affirmatively, as she had such a beautiful voice that she wanted to listen to it more closely. Kamui asked her if the song was a Hashiden tune, and she replied that it's not from Hashida or Nor, it's a song from her mother's homeland. Kamui realized that it was not from royalty but a tribe of some sort, and stated that her mother must be a wonderful person. She told Kamui that she was too young to remember much about her mother, but what she remembered is that this song was precious to her and that she loved the kingdom of Nor. Kamui got confused, and she further told her that she was pulled from Nor when she was very young. He told her that maybe it was a mutual agreement in exchange for holding Princess Kamui as hostage, and King Garon didn't seem to dislike the idea of it. Kamui realized who she was, and she told Kamui that her mother had been the Queen of Nor, and she her daughter, but that was such a long time ago. She commented that apparently a few days ago that same Princess Kamui returned and asked her if she heard word of this as well. She thought that she should also probably welcome her back, and Kamui replied that she was Kamui and asked what she was supposed to say to her. The girl told her that she was Aqua and the people of this country accept her even knowing where she is from. She told her that she liked this place and she wanted to live there forever. That's why there was no need for her to be worried now that she was there. Aqua also told her that her mother made a doll, which was the only regret that she left behind in that country. But more than anything, she loved the friends she had made there. Kamui started crying and told Aqua that she too have left behind something important. She told her that reading books, gathering pretty stones in the garden, she loved all of it, everything and everyone. At the same time, Leo called the cavalryman an idiot and asked if it was true that Kamui was in the kingdom of Hoshido. He replied that King Garon pinned down the location to be Shirasaji Castle to be exact. Leo started wondering if big sister Kamui was safe right now and thought that there was no point in thinking about that right now. With that in mind, the cavalryman told him that he was being asked to join the division in rescuing Lady Kamui. Leo got confused and asked if they were going to take down the royal castle with such a large army. He thought to himself that in Hoshido territory, their means of defense would most likely be that of sorcery and magic, and even if they were to bring their soldiers in, it would be countered as soon as they made it across their borders. They would have to fight with the faceless monsters with no heart. The cavalry replied that His Majesty has prepared accordingly, and Lord Marks and his army should be there soon. He told Leo that he was to make any necessary arrangements and then join the forces as soon as possible. Deer thought to himself that everything suddenly changed so fast. At the same time, in Hoshido Castle, Queen Mikoto was helping Kamui with her hair. Sakura commented that Pani's looked so beautiful in her hair, and the queen told Sakura that she was next. He also stated that Hinata also gets a turn and wondered if Aqua has returned yet. Hinoka ran outside and told the queen that she was going to go look for her since she didn't intend to be dolled up. Takumi wondered if they were still not done preparing, and the prince stated that time would go even slower if she was not patient. The queen told Kamui that today they were going to announce her appearance at the festival, and everyone was going to admire how much she had grown, and everyone has been so worried. She told Kamui that she wanted her to know more about this country. The queen told her that if at any point she wished to return to NOHR, she would work hard to get an invoice to go with her. She knew that Kamui must be wondering where her followers are, and Kamui told the queen that she wanted to change her clothes. The queen replied that she was fine as she was now, and there was no need to feel out of place there whether she was Norian or Hashidan, as the clothes that were given to her by their family were also very important. She asked the queen if the people in the town won't be surprised to see her armor, and she replied that she could just wear a hori on top of it, and she had one prepared for her every year in the event that she would have returned to them. She looked at her sword and stated that she should bear this sword as an accessory. The king thought to himself in his chamber that it was all over now. Everyone left the castle, and a certain man greeted them a good trip, and that day he would leave everything to Yukimura. Ryuma asked Kamui what was wrong, and she wondered about the pink flower and if it was a decoration of some kind. Takumi replied that those were cherry blossoms, and it's a flower that symbolizes spring in Hoshido. Sakura told her that her name comes from this flower. Kamui stated that she had seen these before, and she always thought that it was just some scenery from her dreams. She realized that the scenery was actually real, and she had seen these flowers in the country before, a long time ago. He realized that this place was really her home. All the people around the festival could see Queen Mikoto, and that all of the children were together. Mikoto told Kamui to come to the center, and told Aqua to come a little bit closer, and that she should not be shy. She told Takumi to come stand next to Kamui, and she replied that she was fine standing right there. Besides, she couldn't be told to trust someone that suddenly claimed to be her elder sister. Ruma got angry at her, and Queen stated that she still needs a little time. She told her mother that she had become one with both Hoshido and Nor, just like these clothes. Someday she wanted to be the bridge that connects the two of them so that they could hold hands next to one another. And that was her hope. The queen suddenly started crying, and Sakura gave her a handkerchief. Prince Ryoma told the queen that everyone has been waiting long enough for what she has to say. Kamui wondered what it was, and Ryoma asked her what was wrong. She replied that she smelled the rainwater, and Prince Ryoma wondered how strange it was on such a sunny day like this. She saw a man standing among the people around her and wondered if it was a crystal-clear man. Suddenly, the sword started moving, and she was shocked to see that Gangri was moving on its own, and that it couldn't be possible. The man pulled out the sword, and Queen shouted at everyone to get down immediately as something was moving in the shadows. Kamui and the others were suddenly under attack by a mysterious man. The story proceeds forward as Leo was in his chamber preparing for the war. One of the guards entered his room and told him that the repairs had finished. He asked him if he was sure that the gauntlets were fine. Leo replied affirmatively and told him that they are the one part of his armor that comes in contact with the Brynhilder, so he would like to fix them for himself. He asked the guard if something was wrong, and he replied that in order to ensure that Princess Camille returned safely, he and the rest of the troops would pour their lives and hearts into this mission. Leo told him that he was counting on him just to make sure that his death doesn't come in vain. And it's not various to try and cheat death either. He thought to himself that this was a battle to retrieve the princess. If worst comes to worst, the morale of each soldier would rise at its call to war to avenge the princess. In that case, this becomes more than just an invasion. He realized that she was just a ploy to instigate them, and this was a crusade. The Prince Mark shouted at the soldiers that in addition to monopolizing the fertile lands of this earth, they have now stolen away their princess, kidnapping her. They should bring down the hammer on the corruption of these Hoshidan devils. At the same time in Hoshido, Prince Ryoma got up and asked Sakura if she was injured, and she replied that she was fine. Queen Mikoto was lying on the ground, and Sakura stated that they needed to heal her right away. Prince Ryoma looked around and was shocked to see that what's become of the capital city of Hoshido. Kamui got up and wondered what this was. Sakura requested her not to get up just yet. As soon as she had finished healing Mother, she could heal her as well. Prince Ryoma told everyone that he was going after the man from earlier and told Keijiro that they need to send a messenger to the castle. Inoka told everyone that the rest of them should come with her and help look for any survivors, and she told Sakura to heal Mother and Takumi to follow everyone else's lead. Kamui was really confused after the sword caused an explosion. She asked if everyone was safe, and Aqua replied that Hinoko was aiding the people and Ryoma is going after the attacker. Takumi told Sakura to use a technique to close up the wounds so she stops bleeding, but Sakura started crying and told him that she kept trying but nothing was working and that she was not strong enough. Mikoto told Sakura that it was fine and that they have to accept that the injury is too serious. Mikoto was glad that Kamui was also and told everyone to make sure to get along with each other, and she died. Kamui called her mother, and Takumi caught her by her collar and asked her how dare someone like her call her mother. He told Kamui that the man was from Nor back there, and it's just as he thought, that she came there to kill his mother and all the people of this country. He told her that he should have killed her that day she came to the castle and Sakura tried to stop him. Kamui got really confused and thought that if only she hadn't come to this country. Takumi was shocked to see her and realized that those were white scales horns, and there was no doubt that she was turning into a dragon. Kamui shouted that everyone should just die. The king in his chamber stated that it was unexpected that she didn't die when she should have, and at this rate he would end up having to kill her the next time that they meet. He stated that he would crush Hoshido then, but suddenly got pressured by something in Hoshido. Kamui started transforming and shouted that her father, that hidden swordsman, it was better if everyone just died. The guards thought that they should protect the queen's children, and Aqua suddenly hugged Kamui. She told Kamui that at this rate she would only kill all of those who did survive the blast, and she must not let herself turn into a beast. No one would want that for her, not Mikoto nor the others, and not even her family and Nor. Ryoma came running back and asked what was the meaning of this as he felt a sudden earthquake just now. Aqua told Kamui that everyone's bodies had the potential to do terrible things. That's why they all have hearts. She told Janie to come back and asked her to please listen to the song. She started singing and Kamui returned back to being a human. Sakura stated that she was glad that she had returned to her former self. Kamui asked Aqua what happened, and she replied that there is a myth that the ancestors of the two kingdoms, Nor and Hoshido, were dragons. That's why those who inherit the blood of both the royals could change their appearance into that of a dragon. It's also her first time seeing something like this, though. Kamui was shocked to see that Aqua was injured. Aqua told her that this wasn't her doing, rather it's the fault of the dragon's blood that she had inherited. Kamui thought to herself that this might not be the last time that she'd do something like this again, and Aqua told her that it was not true as it would be fine. Aqua gave her a stone and told her that she had sealed her powers in this stone. That's why she didn't have to worry. She told her not to forget that she was still a human first and foremost. She asked Aqua if it was really true, and she replied that of course it was, as she too had a mysterious power, meaning what she was telling her was true. Aqua told her that she promised her that they would go together in order to find what each of them had forgotten in Nor, and it would be really troublesome if she wasn't there to help her in the event that she couldn't get out of her beast form. As the guards were carrying the dead body of Queen Mikoto, they wondered who were they supposed to support now. One of the senior guards, Yukimura, told Prince Ryoma that he saw that the perpetrator had clothes that seemed to be invisible, and Ryoma affirmatively stated that it was something like that, and he had tried to flash him with his blade, and the man would disappear in a haze. It was no doubt that it was Norian sorcery. Takumi told Yukimura that the criminal he was looking for was right here, and it was coming. He would never forgive this person for what she had done. He replied to Takumi that it was not the will of Lady Mikoto. He told her that Lady Mikoto had foreseen her death to be in the near future, and so she left those words for all of them. He told them the queen's words that King Garan, no, a terrible demon even more horrible than this king, has overtaken him. Because of his plans, she would inevitably die. Nothing could be done to prevent this. However, after some time, the Yato no Kami would show itself again. It would put to rest the confusions of this world, and from the ashes it would choose someone to wield it. Prince Ryoma wondered if this was the same sword in the legends that is said to reveal during chaos and bring salvation to the world. Takumi remembered that earlier he tried to pull a sword from the rubble, but she couldn't touch it as it was too hot. Yukimura told them that only those chosen by the Yato no Kami could wield it, and it seems it first made its appearance when Kamui began to turn into a dragon. He stated that Yato no Kami has chosen Kamui, and she stated that there was no way. She told everyone that it couldn't be possible as mothers had all confusion would be settled by this sword. Prince Ryoma pulled her hand and told her that the words she said to Mother today, the wish and the vow to be the bridge between the two kingdoms, were they not true that in a moment of confusion is when you realize the truth? Kamui held the sword and pulled it out of the rubble. Yukimura told her that he had seen it with his own eyes, and if the Yato no Kami truly belonged to Lady Kamui, he would leave it to her. He, the strategist Yukimura, under the rule of their next king, Lord Ryoma, would stand by her side. Well then he told them that he had to begin the preparation for Lady Mikoto's funeral, and Hinoka told him that she couldn't accept this, as she would leave her at once to search and rescue any other survivors. The shinobi suddenly appeared in front of them and told them that he came bearing some news. To them that there was an emergency smoke signal coming from their borders. The Norian army is currently advancing east towards their country. It has been confirmed that there is only one brigade, and they are expected to reach the canoe village of Makigahara this afternoon. At the same time, Leo was leading the brigade, and he told everyone that they should take a 1/2-hour break there alongside the river. He told them that they should feed and give Nosferatu water. He thought that his brother is already so far ahead of them, and wondered if they could even expect to catch up in 2 days. He wondered if he dropped the smoke bomb like he was ordered to on their border yet. Suddenly Odin started shouting, and he approached him and asked what was it and if he forgot to load something. Odin took out a cardboard box and Elise was there in the cart. Leo asked her what she was thinking as she promised that she would wait in the Imperial Palace for him to return, and what would they do if something were to happen to her. She apologized and told him that it was impossible for her to wait forever. He asked her where her retainers were, and she replied that she left them. He told her to make sure that she never leave his side, and told Zero to take the fastest horse and ride ahead to his brother. He stated that it was too late to turn back now and that he should let him know that it is critical that they stay out of danger because they have something important to protect. As they traveled forward, a guard told Leo that he had heard when it rains in Hoshido and it gets pretty heavy around this time of year. Another guard reported to Leo that Lord Marks and Lady Camellia have seized the Hoshidan territory of Makigahara, and according to the surrendered soldiers there haven't been any abnormalities in the behavior of Hoshidan royalty. Leo thought to himself that his father's plan worked after all, and this way they could protect Illis in the city of Makigahara. He thought that it matters not whether Big Sister Kamui is alive or not. He was already in this row of soldiers, all headed to the same destination with the same purpose, that is to wage war, to trample upon and devastate Hoshido. And in order to justify this war, his father threw Sister away. However, they would never allow for her to be thrown away. He needed to hurry up and help Sister as they could all go home after this was over. The story moves forward with the battle between the Norians and Hoshidians. Leo ordered everyone to wait at the camp until further orders, and while he was away he trusted Stern that he would assist Ivor in command. Older Ellie said that she was going back to Makigahara, and she replied that she would be going with him as well. He asserted that the battle is about to start and asked what if she gets shot by an arrow. She replied that she had learned a lot and she knew how to heal her own injuries now. He told her that it was still not enough, but suddenly heard some sound and realized that there are units using ore and lightning magic within Big Sister Camilla's wide area of command. He wondered if this was supposed to be the best situation for flying units, and as he looked in the air, he thought that the person flying on a Pegasus was looking like Sister Kamui. He told himself that there is no way that Kamui has sided with Hoshido and wondered if he was being held hostage. Leo and all the guards started approaching the enemy, and Leo told allies that he is telling her to go back right now, and Elisa told Odin that if he makes them turn back she was going to jump off the horse. He told them that he was going on ahead in order to intercept the enemy. As they were moving forward, he saw that there were a lot of commotion around Sister Camellia, but thought that she should be fine holding her own. To the left, there were foot soldiers engaging in melee battle. Zero told Leo that the front of the squad was being pushed back and asked if he was sure that he didn't want to call for backup. He denied and told him that there was nothing to worry about as they would soon have word on Marks and his cavalry. Elise told Leo that those Pegasus Knights looked like they were going down. Leo wondered if they were planning to come down there. He saw Kamui and wondered what was the meaning of this and if the spy from the Nora was taken out. He wondered if she was being held as a hostage, and it's probably not the best idea to reveal himself as Hoshido's main units are on the other side of the battlefield. He decided that he didn't have time to think like this and dashed towards them. He shouted Kamui's name and that he had come to get her. Odin thought that it was too dangerous as cavalry fighting against infantry. Leo kept shouting Kamui's name and chased her, while the Norian soldiers pushed back the faceless monsters. At the same time, in Hoshido's camp, the soldiers asked Prince Ryoma to give them the command to go out on the battlefield. They asserted that the only way their heart would be at ease is if they make them suffer what Queen Mikoto and the others suffered. Ryoma told them not to be rash, as their battlefield is the soil on which they currently stand, and for the Sky and Kinshi Knights, he was still deciding. As the Norian soldiers have finally torn down the army of monsters, the soldiers reported to Prince Ryoma that commander of the cavalry seems to be at the back of the swords, and black steel and garments the color of twilight adorn even his horse. He was shocked that it was the crowned prince of Nor, Marks. During the same time, the Pegasus on which Kamui was flying came down, and Leo realized that the rider with her was an ally and that it was good. Kamui ran towards him and told him that she had wanted to see him. Elise suddenly appeared behind Leo, and Leo was shocked how she was there as he told her to wait for him in the forest. Elise hugged Kamui and told her to save her. Leo asked her if she really thought that clinging to her big sister's back would be enough to save her. But he told her that he was really glad that she was safe and sound, and that she really had the devil's own luck. Leo told her that there is an encampment to the south of there, and they should return there. Elise stated that they should go there first to end the Pegasus Knight could come with. Kamui told him that she had to stop her brother from fighting as she saw Prince Ryoma and Mark's armies facing each other on opposite sides of the battlefield. Leo asked her what she was saying, and this was a battlefield, and it's dangerous. Kamui told him that he was really too kind and that she would be fine on her own. He stated that if they didn't stop this war now, then both Nor's and Hoshido soldiers would continue to fight and suffer for all the wrong reasons. She told him that the rain is getting heavier and he should take a list and go somewhere safe. Leo felt like she had changed and Kamui left on her Pegasus. Leo kept shouting her name and asking what was going on as he didn't understand anything. Leo asked Zero what was happening in Hoshido and told him to come with him, while he told Odin to take care of Elise. Zero told him that it looked like Hoshido's troops were moving south. Leo told Elise that he won't have time to help her, and Elise replied that she was descendant of a dragon, so she would be okay. He told everyone that after this is all over, they could all go home together. As the fighting continued, Prince Ryoma asked his advisor about the situation upstream, and he replied that apparently the rain is much heavier than anticipated, and they received a letter by Bird from a strategist asking if it is possible to execute the plan 30 minutes earlier than arranged. In that case, Ryoma replied that he would need to show off his offensive power in order to get the ball rolling. At the same time, Mark's advisor told him that the Hoshidan army looks to be moving, and a man wearing red armor is making his way to the front line, and he is most likely the first prince, Ryoma. Marx wondered if they were looking down on them, or just their blood rushing to their heads. Prince Ryoma came in the battlefield and shouted at the Prince of Nor that if he still possessed any shards of his shattered pride, then he should stand alone before him and face the power of his Rijinto. Marx heard him and stated that he was a lot arrogant. He asserted that Siegfried's slash is more than enough to surpass whatever gaudy decorative weapons Hoshido possess. As the guard helped Marx with his sword, he asked if he was really accepting their challenge, and Marx replied that it's as he said earlier. At the same time, Takumi asked his soldiers if the Prince of Nor responded, and it was fine as he wanted to see the look on his face as his elder brother Ryoma defeated him anyway. The soldier told Takumi that it would take place a bit far from here, near the front line. Takumi looked in the air and saw a Pegasus flying. The guard stated that it doesn't look like a cargo Pegasus and its wings ain't flapping, so they thought that it's gonna descend there. At the same time, Prince Marx and Prince Ryoma appeared in front of each other to start the duel. Ryoma asked him if he was not getting off his horse, and Marx replied that if he didn't want to lose then he would best get on one as well. They both pulled out their swords and dashed towards each other. At the same time, two Norian soldiers were sniping from afar with their crossbows. They realized they had Lord Marx wouldn't have liked for them to use these means, but they thought that it couldn't be helped. They saw a Pegasus Knight from Hoshido, and they thought that they had to hurry before it landed. It was Kamui, and she suddenly came in between Ryoma and Marx. They were both shocked to see her and asked her why she was there. She told them that she had heard what was happening, so she came. At the same time, Leo came running towards them, shouting that they should clear the road for him. These sniper thought that they should wait and see what happens as Lady Kamui has arrived, this time with the company of Lord Leon. But to the arrow slipped because of the rain, and as Elise was running towards Kamui, the arrow was about to hit her. Kamui pulled out her sword and cut the arrow in half. He asked Elise if she was hurt, and Leo was shocked to see that and realized that Kamui has certainly changed. Leo was really shocked and thought to himself that he had never seen any sword like that before, and the way Kamui wields it, she drew her sword without a moment of hesitation. Prince Ryoma asked Hinoko why she brought Kamui, as he told her to wait at the castle with Sakura and Aqua. Hinoko replied that Kamui was able to convince her, and she also wanted to believe in Kamui and her family. Leah realized that she was Hinoka, the first princess of Hoshido. Marx told Kamui that he missed his target, and he was not worthy of the Norian name. He told her that they were also worried about her and even the soldiers, that they were glad that she was safe. Prince Ryoma shouted that he was getting tired of this and told her that she would say it once more and ordered her to go back to her camp. Marx asked Kamui what was it, and she requested both of them to stop fighting as they shouldn't have to fight like this. Leah was unable to understand the situation and asked Zero and Odin to fall back and take a list with them as he would take care of his sister. Ryoma told Kamui to move out of the way. Prince Ryoma shouted at Kamui that she was a princess of Hoshido and her only elder brother was him. And as for the man over there, he is the son of the man who murdered their father Sumraji and abducted her as a child. As Odin was taking back Elise, she shouted that Big Sis Kamui is a Norian princess. Leo stated that if they tried to sweet-talk Big Sister into coming back to them, then it would be considered manipulation and only someone like their good-natured sister could be caught up in something like this, and asked Marks if he was right. But Marks didn't reply. Kamui told Prince Ryuma that she was trying to tell everyone that there was another man there and he wasn't operating under King Garan. They hadn't identified this person yet, and they couldn't say that Garan was the one who gave the orders. Ryoma replied that he understood that she didn't want to bring any more bloodshed into this country. But Nor has already drawn their swords, and they have occupied the battlefields and captured the city in the west, and asked if that evidence wasn't enough. She turned towards Marks and asked him to listen to her, as there was a chance that this war is not by the will of King Garan. And when Queen Mikoto passed, she prophesied that the mastermind behind her assassination wasn't King Garan, but a demon not of this world. Marks replied that the king promised to the citizens of the country that she would be found and return home safely. And there is nothing suspicious about father declaring war for such a reason. She stated that she couldn't believe it, as there was no way that war was the only choice, and due that to both him and father surely knew that there has got to be a better way. Marks told Kamui that she wasn't a child anymore, and she had to learn to accept that this is how the Nohorians must live. She removed her armor cover and showed her armor to everyone and stated that her armor is like this for a reason. It had blood stains, and she told everyone that when the sword Gangri caused an explosion, the queen jumped in front of her to protect her from the blast, and she would have died otherwise, as would have with the thousands of Hashidans there at the time. Leo thought to himself that it was an assassination that targeted the citizens as well. He thought to himself that Queen Mikoto is a well-recognized diviner, and she has used her talents for many years in order to protect the Hoshido